Hello, my name is Kieran Slater. Today I'm going to be looking through some photos I took on a trip I recently went down to London for. There's some photos I've taken in tube stations for this episode, and then I'm going to be two second parts, which are going to be looking at some photos I took in front of Westminster Palace, Houses of Parliament. So let's get to it. Right, first thing we're going to do is go free transform. We're going to try and square it up a little bit. So, I need to make this a new layer first. So make a copy layer, transform, and it just needs squaring off a little bit. Whoops. Go transform, warp. And just bring this up just a little bit, just like that. Just so the lines appear a bit straighter. Almost seem to be just falling away on this side of the photo. I'm going to do the same just slightly here. Top looks pretty good. Just to check that, we can looking any better. Sometimes it's a bit hard to see which direction it needs to be moved in. Yeah, I think I prefer that. So next, I want to turn this image into black and white. So next, we're going to go Command Alt Shift E to make a new layer, which is over the top of the rest. I'm going to go into Filter, Silver Effects Pro. Once we load up in Silver Effects Pro, we can see how we've got down here we've got a group of different presets. Probably won't too many of these will actually look that good. It doesn't look too bad. I like these reflections it's picking up here. So what you want to do is pick one which is kind of somewhere near to what you want. A bit noisy, and then I quite like the high structure, harsh, at the start, and then you can go over here and start adjusting things, like you can bring the contrast up a bit more. You've got to wait for it all to catch up with you as well. And you want to make it sort of almost appear a bit shinier almost. I've got to work out how to do that. And I want to protect those the highlights. We really want to make sure these lights are nice and sharp, crisp. So okay, so I quite like that at the start, so we're going to save that, apply that to the layer. So here now we've taken it into Silver Effects Pro and we made it this black and white image. There's still quite a bit of noise. I think this is shot about 1600 ISO, so we might need to tidy that up a little bit. And I just want to add some more sort of tonal contrast. So what I'm going to do is go into Filter, Nik Effects, Color Effects Pro, Nik Collection, Color Effects Pro, and I'm going to wait for that to load up. Now here, what you can do is a very good trick in here is to select. You can select only certain areas where you apply the contrast to. So I really like it in the floor down here. So if you see me toggle it on and off, you can see it just adds that little bit extra shine to those lights that I was after. So I really like it here. And if you press Alt and drag these control points, you can move them around. So these are all positive ones. This is all making it apply in these areas. And if there's any areas that you really don't want it to apply, like I don't really want it over here, on these other signs, you can put those there. But I do like it in the ceiling. I can add it back into the ceiling on here. Something like that. And if you want to check how where you've put the positives and negatives, you can come into control points and click this button on the right. And the light areas are where it's been applied, and the dark areas are where it's not being applied. So it's not being applied in these shadows down here, but it is applying in all these light reflection areas and on the roof itself. And you might just want to add some more points in. Just worth bearing in mind, every time you add another point, it's going to take longer to process the image. So if you're in a rush, try to keep it to a minimum. So yes, let's untick that so we can see the result. Yeah, I quite like that. Okay, so add that filter, and then we're going to look and see what a little bit of tonal contrast might do. We might just pick out a few more details. As normal, it starts far too high. It's bring out lots of noise in this image, which we don't really want. We don't need saturations that high. Let's bring it down to something fairly more reasonable. Something like that. I think I want a bit more in the highlights. Most important part of this image, and take the midtones up a little bit more as well. Just toggle that on and off and see what the difference is. And just making it a bit flatter, really, isn't it? That's not what I was expecting. Just save those shadows a little bit. Just check we're just not going too strong on the shadows, that's all. Okay, let's add that filter and then apply that. So hoping once this loaded, we're going to see some more of this, these lights being reflected a bit stronger. There's slightly too much more noise than I'd like in here, so I'm just going to quickly see if we can remove that and see if that takes away too much detail or whether it still looks good afterwards. So we're going to go another filter, again Nick Collection, and going to use Define. And let's see what that does. I'm just going to let it automatically try and remove some of the noise. You can see up here, when we zoom in 100%, there's an awful lot. Now see, when I look at it zoomed out, that looks like it's far too much. If we toggle this on and off, it just sort of loses something when you smooth that all out. It just looks like a watercolour painting. So I'm actually going to tone that back a little bit. So I'm just going to change the opacity to say 20%. So you still got a little bit of the noise, which just adds that detail and that rugged feeling to the photo, but so that we don't have a photo that's overly blurred or overly noisy. 540. 20. Let's go with that. So I'm going to export this one and move on to the next photo.